California has three major rivers. Can you name three major rivers in California? Can you also name the lowest point in the entire Western Hemisphere, the entire half of the globe? The lowest point in the Western Hemisphere is in California. Where at? What's the highest point in the continental United States, in the 48 states? What's the highest point? That's in California too. So the highest point in the continental U.S., also the lowest point for the continental U.S., and the lowest point for the entire Western Hemisphere. So what's the lowest point in the Western Hemisphere? What's the highest point in the continental U.S.? And name three major rivers in California. You got the Sacramento River. You got the Joaquin River. And that goes into the Delta River. So Joaquin, Sacramento River, San Joaquin. And the Delta River, there's three major rivers there's answers to. One of the three questions, the answers to the other two questions will be at the end of the video. Let's listen to some of the State of the State speech 2021. This is Gavin Newsom telling California how California is being ran. You had a whole 4,500 people were paying attention to what their governor was doing, earlier this year. 4,500. This is dismal. This is embarrassing. California could be a million times greater if people would focus on California fucking politics and not goddamn shit you can't change and do shit about over in D.C.
Instead of fans in the stands, we see nurses in PPE saving lives one injection at a time. All because a year ago, a once-in-a-century pandemic arrived on our shores. COVID was no one's fault, but it quickly became everyone's burden, forcing hardworking Californians into impossible choices to go to work and risk infection or stay home and lose your job. It magnified daily worries about feeding your kids, paying rent.
So COVID. I wonder, does he talk about anything else? This goes on for 30 minutes, so maybe that's why nobody paid attention. So what's the situation with the California recall? The Republicans, Larry Elder is basically sitting in the governor's chair right now. He's in the mansion. He's already got his, victory. He's already got his ribbons. They're already fucking excited. They already said, you know what? We got this shit in the bag. They've already basically, closed up shop, and they're going home because they think that they're going to take the Republican chair. Larry Elder is, polling high. Gavin Newsom is almost underwater. So the situation in California, there's a recall election. There's a recall election 1 year before the general election. Gavin Newsom has been the governor for the last 3 years. So 2021, 2020, 2019. Gavin Newsom has a little bit of a record. He's been in there for 3 years, 1 year more than JFK. So he's got a little bit of a record. What has he done? This is the question that I want to, he can believe this or believe that. But what has he accomplished as governor? That's the question I'm going to try to answer with this video. Now, the ballots have already been mailed out in California, so that means the horses are running, right? They're off and they're running. The ballots have been mailed out. You've already had some fucking scandal in Torrance. In Torrance, you got some fucking passed out meth head with the fucking gun and drugs and shit with like a whole bunch of ballots. The fuck is going on there? So the ballots have already been mailed out. September 4th is when the voting begins, so I guess that's when they'll start counting the votes, September 4th. So they're paying attention to see how many Republican and Democrat votes are coming in. But September 4th is when it begins. September 14th is when it ends. We're going to know who won or did not win on September 14th, the night of September 14th. 8 p.m. is when the polls close, and it's California, so they're later than everybody else. So midnight, maybe September 15th or the 16th, but it'll be quick. We'll find out right away as long as there's not any major complications such as a bunch of meth heads with guns and passed out fucking ballots in the car. As long as that doesn't keep on happening, then there's not widespread voter fraud, then we will find something out, probably the night of September 14th. Or the morning of September 15th. So Republicans are super excited. They're going to throw Democrat Gavin Newsom out to the curb, right? Throw that piece of shit, the damn politician, out on his ass. Fuck that Democrat. Fuck that governor. Fuck that politician. And the Democrats, You know, they're going to probably just have to be loyal, rank-and-file Democrats. Go there. Do you want to recall Gavin Newsom? No. He's a Democrat. Keep the Democrat in power. Just be a loyal, rank-and-file Democrat. No, and I don't know how the second question, if you say no, then I don't think it should matter. But if you say no, I wonder if the second question, you should answer the second question, because that still could be a possibility, but not for sure on that. But it does, you know, if no wins, then there is no, you know, but if yes wins, and you could have voted for somebody else, there's 40 to 50, I think there's 46 candidates to vote for. So you have other options. You just didn't fucking what? Goddamn Google, you know, California governor recall election. That was too fucking hard for you, California citizen. Governor recall election. That's like 4 fucking words. Jesus Christ, I need someone yelling at me and, you know, MSNBC or CNN telling me what the fuck I think. I need Jimmy Dore telling me. And where the fuck is TYT? Where the fuck is Jimmy Dore and, you know, some of the other ones? The Progressive Voice, Jackson Hinkle, the Progressive Voice voted. So Democrats are not excited. They're not excited because what are you're going to go and just say, let's keep Gavin Newsom, and they're lukewarm about him. They don't love him. They don't hate him. They're lukewarm about him. Hannity said he's far left-wing, which made me excited. Really? Is he far left-wing? He's not far left-wing. He seems to be pretty moderate. We'll get into that in a second. But they would have to vote no on the recall of Gavin Newsom, so they're not excited. I think to the progressives, you have to vote yes. Yeah, do you want to recall Gavin Newsom? Fucking A, kick that piece of shit governor to the goddamn curb. Motherfucking California's a wreck. California's an absolute fucking mess. Gavin Newsom, you had your chance. You fucked it all up. You're underwater. You're underwater. 48 to 52%, and that was just 2 days ago. There's still 3 more weeks. Gavin Newsom is out. He is out. And somebody is going to, you know, come in. And right now it looks like it's Larry Elder. And if it's a Democrat, it might be that Kevin Paffrath, who he's a right-wing stock market broker, fucking landlord, right-wing. He's a Dino. He's a Democrat name owner. He's a neoliberal. He's not fucking progressive. He's saying he's a JFK Democrat, which is code for a right-wing Republican. He's a conservative, right-wing conservative Republican. That's what he means when he says a JFK Democrat, which is kind of, you know, a shitty way to use JFK's legacy, that he's a Republican. That's not what I felt, but, I mean, maybe, I don't know. He's undefined. JFK could be whatever we want him to be, I guess. So, Democrats aren't excited. There's an enthusiasm gap. It looks like California is going to go Republican, or if you go with Kevin Paffrath, it's going to go Republican. So it looks like California might go Republican or Republican. If it goes the Democrat, the leading Democrat, that's Republican. If it goes the leading Republican, it goes Republican. Fucking shit. The Republicans push for this. Netflix push for this. The CEO of Netflix does not like Gavin Newsom. So, progressives, you got to recall Gavin Newsom. You got to. And then you got to coalesce around one progressive. I think Dan Kapelovitz or John Robert Drake. Those are my 2 progressives, my 2 favorite progressives so far. Dan Kapelovitz. Oh, Dan Kapelovitz or John Robert Drake. John Robert Drake, he wants a basic income. He wants universal health care. Dan Kapelovitz, he does too. He wants to stop ICE, and he wants instant runoff voting. These are my 2 favorite progressives so far, and if you're a Californian, if you're in California, why don't you tell me who your favorite candidate is for a brand new governor? Assume the worst, right? You assume the worst, you hope for the best, but you assume the worst. If you assume the worst, you're never disappointed. So why don't you tell me who your favorite candidate is? Tell me who your favorite candidate is. Because Gavin Newsom is going to get recalled, and if you're not going to get enough voters to stop Larry Elder or Kevin Paffrath, who will win the governor's chair with 15% of the population, because it's a plurality thing. You got 46 candidates. That means the vote is going to be spread out all over the fucking place. You're going to have like 10 candidates that's going to have like 10%, 11%, 12%, and then a whole bunch of them is going to have single digits. So you're going to have like the top 10, right? You're going to have the top 10 who's got double digits, and then they're just going to be the 15% or the 19%, the person who gets 15, the one who gets the most, not the majority, the one who gets the most votes, because they don't have instant runoff voting, which is fucking ridiculous, which is stupid as shit. How come California, you don't have instant runoff voting? New York does. New York has got instant runoff voting. Maine has got instant runoff voting. Telluride, Basalt has instant runoff voting. Colorado's got the option. Colorado's passed the option for the local, counties and shit or whatever, home rule, to get instant runoff voting. So Ryan Grimm is the only progressive person talking about the California recall. Ryan Grimm and every Republican on the planet. Gavin Newsom could be out by Halloween. My God, this is exciting. The Republicans are all talking about this. Nobody on the left, none of the Democrats. Their apathy, their complacency. I heard Pelosi say that they got to go vote, but she didn't say why. But she's paying attention. She's worried. So my guess is Gavin Newsom is already underwater right now. Right now, he's going to the forest fires. He's actually saying, here's what's happening in my state. You see how my state is on fire? And then he's going and he's talking to the homeless people. You see these meth-addled, fucking heroin junkie, fucking homeless people right here. So he is desperate. These are terrible images. Gavin Newsom, your state is fucking crumbling. You're proving it yourself. But in a way, it's smart. It's showing that he's out there, out and about, talking to the people. So I think it's smart because he realizes that at the very least, if he's not underwater, he's on the ropes. He's on the ropes. And he's about to get knocked over the ropes or underwater, knocked, I don't know, TKO, checkmate, I don't know. He's not gonna win. So I don't know if California's Democrats understand how important elections are. You got to treat every election like it could be your fucking last one, because it could be. Any election could be a motherfucking Hitler. So you got to check every fucking election. Make sure every goddamn election is on the up and up. You don't want no fucking Hitler coming in out of nowhere. So what? So what? What is my point? My point is to talk about Gavin Newsom. Let's listen to some more Gavin Newsom.
Let's deny that this isn't a huge challenge, but we know what it means to stare down big challenges. In 2020, we simultaneously faced two once-in-a-generation crises. And when we combated the worst wildfire season last summer's heat dome over the entire west coast of the United States, which led to world record-breaking temperatures here at home. And in just one 24-hour period last August.
So they had some bad weather, so we got to deal with climate change on top of every other fucking problem. Oh, yeah, you got to treat every election like it could be your goddamn last. California going Larry Elder? Jesus Christ, what does that mean, President Larry Elder? Thanks a lot, California. You only got us fucking Ronald Reagan. You only destroyed the fucking nation. Motherfucking shit. You let Schwarzenegger take your state over for 8 fucking years. Hey, Jackson Hinkle. Only because you're a Californian and I respect you, so hopefully you take my joshing with a grain of salt. But you gotta fucking vote, Jackson, you gotta vote, Jesus Christ, fucking the youth. How come young adults don't fucking vote? You're the motherfuckers that, Jesus fuck. You're supposed to get Bernie Sanders in there, but Bernie didn't come because young people didn't go motherfucking vote. What, you got something to go, what do you got, something better to do? What, you got to go do some parkouring? What, are you doing, some parkour or what? You got to go watch some goddamn Pokemon? Is Pokemon on? What the fuck's going on with you? So California politics influences my life. If we get a president, Larry Elder, California, come on, you're better than this. You got to get this shit right. So, one dumb criticism, when I think of Gavin Newsom, I don't know anything about him, off the top of my head. Except for he's the governor, and it seems like everybody just kind of hates him, but I feel like he's a politician, and that's kind of his role. Everybody's just supposed to fucking hate him, right? This America, right? You're the governor, you're the president, we all just fucking hate you. But somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to be the goddamn leader or whatever. So Gavin Newsom, some people said he's too pretty, too perfect. That's stupid. Talk about Botox and that, and yeah, he could be like a bit too polished of a politician, but Jesus fucking Christ. Politicians have to appeal to every one of you fucking piece of shit assholes. And just because you are too polished, that's better than somebody that has no hygiene whatsoever. Hey, there's somebody with no hygiene. Or there's somebody that's too polished. I'd rather go with so Gavin Newsom, too pretty, too perfect. Shut up. Let's talk about policies. Let's talk about policies. So who is Gavin Newsom? Is he right-wing? Is he left-wing? What's he done? What's he not done? And he's been the governor for 3 years, so he's got somewhat of a record. Let's see what he's accomplished as governor. Let's just say fuck his opinions, fuck what he's been talking and promising. Let's just see what he's done. So first off, let's see the poverty rate. Let's check out the homelessness. So the number one issue in California, I would think it's actually two. It would be the water shortage and homelessness, right? You got to live, so you need water, and then you got a shit ton of homeless people. And you just heard Caitlyn Jenner, actually, with the other video, going around sitting there saying it's a homeless business. Venice Beach, because of the NGOs, they just encourage the homeless people to go there, so the homeless business so they want to cut them off, right? Nobody's saying get them into housing. They need housing. They're saying cut them off. Okay, you might be able to crack down, but if people don't, people need to live. People need to live, so they'll have to go somewhere. So when it comes to homelessness in California, 160,000 people are homeless. So that's a big chunk. Out of America, 500,000 people are homeless. So most of the homeless people are in California. 500,000, 500,000 are homeless all across America, yet 160,000 people are homeless in California. So if you were to take $10,000 tiny homes, put them on public lands for free, right? So $10,000 per person times 160,000, that's $1.6 billion. I think the federal government should help out with this, because I think for $5 billion, we can get rid of homelessness in our age, in our time, for one fucking moment. We can build, housing for every single American, and say for one moment in time, there was no homeless people in America. 160,000 people are homeless in California. Do it one time only, and don't ever do it again, because you don't want to get into that homelessness business. That's, somewhat correct. You do need to cut them off every, so often. Jesus Christ, California, if they have a nice homelessness policy, you're going to have the rest of the country's homelessness go to California. So they might have to, but I bet you they've been cracking down on homeless, and that hasn't, right-wing, just call the police, and, they'll take a baton and hit a homeless person over their head and tell them to get the hell out of here, and maybe that'll work, right? But so far, that has not worked. So maybe building homes, let's try something different. Let's try building homes for the people that don't have homes. So 160,000 people in California are homeless. I think it would only take not only, but $1.6 billion. If we were, compared to the budget's fucking shit ton, right? $3 trillion GDP. I can only imagine the budget being $1 billion or $2 or $3 or $100. So compare, combine Kevin Paffrath's plan. You make sure you get $1.6 billion to build 160,000 homes. And then, once you have that promised, once that's worked on, once that's there, tiny homes, you can do that with Contour Crafton, you can build homes real fucking quick. 160,000 new tiny homes. Do that one time only, $1.6 billion. Once you have the final solution, you don't want Kevin Paffrath's round them up in concentration camps to go to Adolf Hitler's final solution. The final solution for homelessness is to get them into housing, to get them into homes. And here's another thing. So you have 160,000 people that don't have homes, and I'm saying build new homes, brand new spanking homes, $1.6 billion. That takes care of it. But I also heard another statistic that for every one homeless person we have in America, there's 20 empty houses. So how many empty houses are there? That would take care. You wouldn't have to build any housing right away. You could put them right into housing. All the empty housing that helps them take care of that house, and it gets them a home. It's good for the property. It's good for everybody. It's good for everybody. So $10,000 tiny homes, 160,000. So yeah, we could build all those homes, 160,000 new tiny homes, or to help mitigate some of the costs, we can get all these empty homes where you have absentee landlords and banks that just haven't invested or done shit with it, to help, alleviate the cost. Okay, so homelessness is a huge, major fucking issue. I actually heard that Gavin Newsom got attacked by a homeless person, like, not a week ago. Now, the poverty rate in California is 12%. Not too terrible. In Costilla County, it's 30%, so that's way worse. But 12% is still fucking ridiculous. Nobody should be poor in a rich nation. So, California, you got to work on that. 12% of your people are poor. It's not the worst of the worst, but it's not good. So, I would say, California, work on getting your poverty rate down to 5%. It's at 12% right now. Try to get your poverty rate down to 5%. That's, that sounds better to me. 12% is like, I mean, it's not everybody, but that's, what, 1 out of 10 people in California are poor? In the richest fucking state, in the richest fucking country? That's pitiful. That's pathetic. Not only should we not have any poor people, we definitely shouldn't have homeless. Jesus Christ. The richest fucking society, we're all a bunch of good Christians, and there's people that sleep on the fucking streets. There's people that freeze to death out in Cincinnati. So, okay, that's poverty and the homeless statistics. Now, let's take a look at death penalty. Gavin Newsom has ended the death penalty in California. That's something. It's good. It's a liberal thing. I'm not too enthusiastic about the death penalty, but it's loving and compassionate. So, 2019, March 13, this is 3 years that the voters had narrowly rejected its repeal. Gavin Newsom declared a moratorium on the state's death penalty. So, moratorium, he bans it. We're going to stop all the death penalty for right now, preventing any executions in the state as long as he was the governor. So, as long as Gavin Newsom is the governor, I guess that's by executive order or whatever, but he ended the death penalty. He ended the death penalty. That's good. He also saved some Cambodian and Vietnamese refugees. So, you have ICE. You got the federal government that's trying to deport anybody and everybody. You had some Cambodians and some Vietnamese that they were going to go, if they were deported, two Cambodian refugees were facing deportation. He went ahead and gave them clemency, but they could have, been hurt or harmed if they were deported. So he showed, so he kind of stood up against ICE. He pardoned them with a pardon from a governor. That prevents the federal government from, doing what they wanted to do. So good. He protected some Cambodian and Vietnamese refugees. He ended the death penalty in California. This is something, right? 2019, he did it March and May, both of those things in early 2019. Now, this is pretty bad. His wife has gotten nearly $1 million in political donations from corporations that had lobbied the state government in recent years. The donors that have given to the nonprofit or the thing that's connected to his wife has got Pacific Gas and Electric, AT&T, Comcast, and Kaiser Permanente. Kaiser Permanente is a healthcare company. So a healthcare company, PG&E, electric company, AT&T, Comcast, communication company. Joe Biden got his start in Comcast. All these folks gave money to an association, a nonprofit that Gavin Newsom's wife is associated with. So that means he's a corporatist. He's a neoliberal corporatist. This is terrible. The corporations need to make sure they're fucking eating, make sure they're fine and dandy, make sure they have all the water and the food and the clothing and housing and security that they need. We don't need any more corporatists. We need progressives. So that's bad. September 2020, Gavin Newsom signed into law a bill allowing California transgendered inmates to be placed in prisons that correspond with their gender. That's okay. He supported creating a universal health care system in California. I don't understand the universal health care system in California. Do you have one? Because they have something called Medi-Cal, and then they expanded the eligibility for that to undocumented young adults ages 19 to 25. So Medi-Cal, does California already have universal health care? I'm not too clear about their health care system. Do they already have one? They got a partial one? What the fuck's going on with that shit? So the budget passed June 2019. He expanded the eligibility for Medi-Cal. So that means he increased. He's working towards universal health care. So that's a good thing. It's also good he's got a moratorium on fracking. Are we creating a whole bunch of earthquakes? He imposed a moratorium in November 2019 on approval of new hydraulic fracturing and steam-injected oil drilling in the state until the permits for those projects can be reviewed by an independent panel of scientists. Good. In 2019, June, it seemed like he did a shit ton in 2019. Gavin Newsom apologized for the genocide of Native Americans, which that's, good. He said that specifically he's apologizing the ones that the state of California, the statehood of California, had killed in the late 19th century. By one estimate, there were 4,500 Native Californians who were killed between 1849 and 1870. Gavin Newsom said it was a genocide. There's no other way to describe it. That's the way it needs to be described in the history books. So that's absolutely true. So good on him, by apologizing for it. Maybe they'll get reparations. Maybe the Native American, I fucking love the Native Americans. So that's good. He's in favor of Assembly Bill 1196, which would ban carotid artery restraints and chokeholds in California. So, yeah, this is, he's going to ban chokeholds. Or he is in favor of it. He tried to, or he's in favor of it. He wants to ban chokeholds. He says that this is no longer, this should not be a police tactic because it's literally designed to stop people's blood from flowing into their brain. That has no place any longer in 21st century practices. Gavin Newsom also brought about legal, marijuana in California, which really, California had kind of legal marijuana for a long fucking time. Gavin Newsom is also against the war on drugs, so I don't know if he wants to just legalize all drugs or if he just wants to legalize one or two drugs. You had Andrew Yang, he was saying, do mushrooms and this, so they're kind of picking out like some cocaine and mushrooms, but not the rest. So they're kind of picking one and two things. I wonder if Gavin Newsom says legalize all drugs. He's against the war on drugs, and so is Larry Elder. Both Larry Elder and Gavin Newsom are both opposed to the war on drugs. Now, how does that actually turn out in policy? Do they keep, some of the hard drugs illegal and legalize some of the other ones, or do they just say, this America, right? Have a red light district if you got an ID or whatever? So Gavin Newsom, he said this, I led the effort to decriminalize and legalize cannabis because the war on drugs has been an abject failure with disproportionate and devastating impacts on communities of color. Do we want to listen to him anymore?
Frozen lightning strikes sparked 560 wildfires, requiring heroic efforts by our firefighters and National Guard, who landed helicopters into flames to save fellow Californians. This year, we're budgeting more than $1 billion for fire prevention.
$1 billion. So they do have, $1 billion. $1.6 billion takes care of your homelessness problem by actually building homes. It solves the problem right at the root and with love and compassion. And it's something that nobody's ever tried before. Let's build homes for the homeless. So Gavin Newsom, he's for legal weed. He wants to end the war on drugs. He's getting even closer to universal health care. He ended fracking. He ended the death penalty. So there's some notable accomplishments there. I'm pretty pissed at the corporate donors. We'll come back.